here we are. We got the new Don Ross, Robot Monster, after his, I guess, favorite B movie from the 50s, is it?
Yeah.
50th anniversary?
53, last year was the 50th anniversary.
So you make this beautiful, passionate music, and then you name it after a bad B movie. So why did you do that?
That's the kind of guy I am, I guess. Well, I saw Robot Monster the first time, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. My late wife and I watched it on the late movie one night, and I freaked out. I just thought it was the epitome of badness, and I just, when something is that bad, it's a virtue, really. Yeah, Aristotle said excellence of any kind was virtuous, so it's excellent in its badness.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, because such a beautiful, passionate record, I thought it was kind of weird, because robots you think of as being kind of cold, and thinking logically, not in art in any way, shape, or form. But I guess it makes sense in a quirky way.
In a quirky way, I wrote a tune that is the title tune for the record, and it's very it's kind of a angry, crazy tune that I wrote when my wife was ill. She passed away a couple of years ago, and it was kind of like I was purging a monster when I wrote it. So that's why I ended up naming it that. Right. In kind of a backhanded, strange, twisted humor kind of way. It ended up being a tune about that whole experience. Yeah.
You play a lot of interesting, exotic places, recorded at some incredible places too. Do you think the geography of a place you're in plays as much as a part as the emotional aspects that what you're going through at that time?
Well, I tend to write a lot when I'm traveling. Most of my tunes tend to come out of new experiences, new places, new weird, things that happen. Mm-hmm. So, and also I find that downtime on the road is a good time for me to actually be creative. It's hard to be creative at home, I find. Just I'm a single dad with all these kids to take care of and a house to run.
It's hard to be creative.
It's hard to be creative, yeah, when you're that creative.
And
do the laundry, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
also, too, a lot of people explain your music as being not easily definable. And I'm sure you go over this time and time again. But why is it that, I guess just as a product, they have to define you? Call you new age or whatever, make it easy so, they can put it in this nice, neat little package. Do you feel that art should be done like that? Almost like a product, like you're selling soap? Or should they just leave it as it is and don't call it anything?
Well, I think people always need a reference. They need to be able to say, well, it's a bit like this or a bit like that. Mm-hmm. Those kind of broad terms like jazz and rock and folk and new age and everything else are kind of... they're a bit of a swath, like what constitutes any of these. Well, it's all kind of it's very conceptual. I don't really mind it, and yet at the same time I tend to avoid it. If people think that the kind of crazy, wacky guitar stuff I do is new age music, I tend to wonder why, because it's not relaxing. It's not music to put on and numb out to. It's kind of requires a certain amount of listening to it. So. And then I think of what I do as mostly influenced by jazz and rock mostly, but it's acoustic. So.
Right. Where do you find audiences more receptive to music like yours? Are Canadians too conservative? Do you find it easier to go into Europe or Asia?
Well, a lot of it depends on how hard I've flogged a certain area. I haven't flogged the East Coast as hard as I've done other areas, and there was no good reason for that other than I wasn't sure where to begin. I didn't. And nice thing about being involved with Dell, my agent, and who's also opening these shows, is that he's from here, so he's just saying, well, let's just book theaters and then build the audience. So that's working out really well. As far as acceptance goes, I find that the music's very readily accepted in Japan and California and Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto. I mean, there's several venues where I can go in and pull in a big crowd, and everything's always great. Other places, it does seem like you do have to flog the dead horse a little harder, And why that is, it's probably cultural more than anything else. Yeah.
And I find that too. A lot of the different things that I do that I was talking about earlier, you go to Montreal and they're all going crazy, and then the next night in maybe a little more conservative town, they're just excited, but they're just kind of doing this, And it's almost like, was the show very good? Did they get it?
I know that is the problem for the performers, is that from town to town, each audience can have such a different character. The other night we played in Kingston, and that's where Dell lives now, and Kingston's a really quiet town for audiences. You can have a full room and you can hear a pin drop, and so it's a little disconcerting when you're on stage because you think people aren't enjoying it.
Wandered in the wrong place.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I thought this was a country bar. And then over in Europe, it's kind of the same thing. Depending on which town you go to, audiences can be really, really laid back to the point where you think they're not enjoying it, but then at the end of the show you sell all these CDs, so you figure they must have liked it. Yeah. You just but my problem is, and a problem for a lot of performers, I think, is that when there's not tons of energy coming off the audience, it's hard to put the energy out. Audiences don't realize, I don't think, how much power they have over the performer that way.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Because you feed off of them,
Absolutely.
as you know, and vice versa. So, okay, well, do yourselves a favor and look enthusiastic by Robot Monster. Another great piece of work by Don Ross. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.